We just saw The Brutalists, probably gonna win Best Picture this year at the Oscars. I don't know what year to put it in, 24 or 25. I'm gonna put it in 24 because that's where it premiered. Loved it, really, really loved it. It lives up to its name, Brutalist. It's brutal. The length is brutal. You gotta have some endurance. The second half after the intermission, what happens in that part of it is brutal. Adrien Brody deserves the Oscar for Best Actor. It was fantastic. This director is amazing. This virtuoso of camera movements and shots and just the uniqueness of the imagery in this. I don't know if they shot on film, but it looked like they shot on film. Just sometimes they showed the Statue of Liberty in this odd, weird way, and then they kept doing that. They showed travel in these really interesting ways. There's a scene where they're doing drugs, and there's like flickers of gold, like ever so faint, like you're just like, wait, is something happening? Almost creating a divinity, a spiritual world. Very good. All the actors, very, very good. But endlessly heavy and sad, and even as our characters start to win, you can tell that they're not gonna win. At the intermission, which is the first intermission movie I've seen since Quentin Tarantino's movie, Hateful Eight, which I also loved. But up until that point, I was like, this is the best movie of the year. This is gonna be my #1 recommendation. But after the intermission, it starts to get really heavy and iffy. The story touched home. You know what I mean? We live in Pennsylvania. We've been to Doylestown. They talk about Philly and Doylestown. And so it's right in our neck of the woods. Obviously, it's fictional or whatever. Also, my grandfather was an architect. My cousin's an architect. Our whole family appreciates architecture. This guy's about architecture, specifically Brutalist. Our grandfather wasn't a brutalist, but here's an immigrant coming to the country and having to start from nothing, who was like a really famous architect where he was from. My grandfather was a famous architect in Cuba. It touched home, and you saw the immigrant story in a really unique and interesting way. Also the story of the Jewish people coming here in a really unique and interesting way. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 89. It's definitely great, and it also flips what we've been seeing. So there's a lot of light fare in our movies. We see light things with light themes, and this is like just a different thing. This is just heavy and dark and rugged. Lives up to the name, Brutalist. Thanks for watching my review. Appreciate you. Please like, please comment, please share, and then also come to the movies with me. Get on this review. I want to hear what you have to say, or let me hear what you have to say in the comments. All right, I'm grateful that you watched this, and I love you.
So we just saw The Brutalist starring Adrien Brody. The first thing I gotta say is it's a long movie. It has an intermission. I went into this incredibly cold. I had not seen a trailer. I had not heard anything about this movie. Had not seen anything. I knew the title and the cast, which is impressive. And yeah, man, it's intense. It holds focus. Can't say I didn't notice the length, because I absolutely did, because we clocked in at just over 4 hours long in the theater, including intermission and trailers. So, wow. Adrien Brody is phenomenal in this. Brilliant performance. Felicity Jones, female lead, shows up in the second half of the movie, post-intermission, and she is magnetic. Holds your focus, holds your eye. One of the things I really liked about this movie was that it shows people uncomfortable. Their expressions are always look pained. Everybody looks pained in so many times, and it's such an interesting idea. And I found myself looking at, wow, this is really incredible. You never see people just always looking uncomfortable and distended. But there's a twist that comes late in the film that I feel comes out of nowhere, takes me out of the film. Largely feels like all of a sudden I'm in a different movie, and the payoff in the end of this movie kind of leads to it. But it was a good film. I can't say a great film, no matter what critics say. I disagree. I think this was really held up by really strong performances, and I think the narrative itself, it's really pretty to look at, though. I do grant that, and it is inventive. So I'd say 80 out of 100. There's enough good there that it was. The length is brutal, and that hurts it for me to the point where I cannot give it any better.